In the small town of Maplewood, there lived a teenager named Jason. Bursting with potential, Jason possessed intelligence, athleticism, and had a supportive family. Yet, he grappled with a formidable adversary, laziness and procrastination. Instead of focusing on schoolwork, he'd often spend days immersed in video games. Chores would only get done after his mom continuously reminded him. His commitment to basketball practice waned, resulting in lackluster efforts at best. His parents tried every trick in the book, taking away privileges, paying him for chores and good grades, counseling, you name it. But Jason consistently reverted to his habit of indifference and procrastination. He was becoming quite adept at putting things off. "I'll do it tomorrow" became his personal motto. Unfortunately, tomorrow never seemed to arrive. One summer day, Jason's mom reached her wit's end. She sent him to visit his eccentric great-uncle Robert, an old wise man who lived in a humble home at the edge of the woods. Maybe some old wisdom could straighten the boy out. When he arrived at Uncle Robert's cluttered home, the wiry old man with a groomed beard and mysterious eyes greeted him warmly. "I understand you've been having a hard time staying focused and on track, my boy. Becoming easily distracted and putting things off until later. Letting the hours, days, and weeks slip idly by, wasting your time and potential." Jason shrugged uncomfortably. "I don't know. I'll get around to it, eventually." Jason was bracing for another lecture, but Robert stroked his beard thoughtfully. Sometimes lessons are better learned through experience. "Come, let's take a walk through the forest," said Robert. Confused yet curious, Jason went along with it. Up ahead, an old crooked tree had fallen across the trail, blocking their way. The wise man motioned for Jason to help him move the heavy trunk aside. As they grunted and heaved together to move the big fallen trunk, Uncle Robert said, "See this tree we're dealing with? It's like a picture of where you're at in life right now, Jason. Your laziness and lack of effort has blocked your path, like this tree blocking the trail. It's going to take a lot of hard work and discipline to clear that obstacle and get headed in the right direction again." Once they finally moved the tree off to the side, the two started walking the forest path again. Uncle Robert took a deep breath of the pine-scented air and said, "You know, your situation reminds me of a story about twin brothers from long ago. Very different young men who ended up on two very distinct paths in life." He gave Jason a look. "Mind if I tell it to you? I think the tale might help shed some light on the obstacles you're facing." Jason shrugged. "Sure, I'm listening." Uncle Robert nodded and began. Long ago, there were twin brothers named Lucius and Ignavius who lived very different lives. From the moment they were young boys, Lucius understood and cherished the value of his time. Each new morning, he would greet the dawn fully energized, seizing the fresh batch of hours as a precious gift. "The day is full of opportunity," he would declare, before diving into his chores and studies with enthusiasm. Ignavius, however, treated time as an unavoidable annoyance. He would waste the morning hours, languishing in bed until hunger finally roused him. "There's always tomorrow to be productive," he would tell himself, squandering the present on trivial indulgences and procrastination. As the brothers grew older, their contrasting behaviors cemented into habits. Lucius invested his time wisely, completing tasks promptly and pursuing meaningful ambitions that grew into great prosperity as a merchant. But Ignavius frittered his days away in slothful regret, always insisting he would change his lazy ways once the timing was right. Decades later, as Lucius basked in a well-earned retirement surrounded by loved ones, his brother drew his final, wheezing breaths. The destitute, forgotten Ignavius languished alone, crying out, "I've wasted my life's precious hours through idleness and delay. If only I could go back and cherish time as Lucius did, instead of always putting things off to an empty tomorrow that never arrived." But It was too late. The sands of Ignavius's lifetime had fully slipped away, never to be regained, as the value of using time wisely finally became clear. Uncle Robert stared at Jason intently. Can you see how this story reflects your own life? You have the opportunity of youth, but laziness is like a fallen tree blocking your path and potential. If you keep going like this, you might end up like Ignavius in the story, filled with regret for wasting your talents and time on unimportant things. The seriousness of the old man's words struck Jason hard. He couldn't help but reflect on all the hours he had wasted playing video games, putting off homework and chores. Would he eventually end up like Ignavius, filled with regret? As they exited the forest and returned to Uncle Robert's home, the wise man continued. I believe in the philosophy of Stoicism, facing life's difficulties with resilience, virtue, reason, and self-discipline, Uncle Robert explained. The ancient sage Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Life is long enough, and a sufficiently generous amount has been given to us for the highest achievements, if it were all well invested." You see, Jason, Uncle Robert continued, our time on this earth may be limited, but it's still plentiful enough for us to achieve greatness and discover genuine fulfillment and peace. All we have to do is use our time and energy wisely, instead of wasting them on insignificant distractions. Uncle Robert rested his calloused hand on Jason's shoulder. The teenage years fly by, my boy, Uncle Robert said solemnly. Before you know it, adulthood will be here with its own set of serious duties and responsibilities. If you don't shake off your procrastination and apathy soon, you might end up like poor Ignavius, consumed by regret for the chances you let slip away. Jason considered his eccentric uncle's words deeply. It dawned on him, perhaps for the first time, that his laziness was more than just a bad habit. It was stealing away valuable time that he could never get back once it was gone. He pictured two possible futures stretching out before him. One was a disciplined path, akin to the virtuous Lucius, while the other was the bleak and wasted road of Ignavius, filled with regret and missed opportunities. Inspired and suddenly aware of the preciousness of his youth, Jason made a solemn promise to Uncle Robert and to himself. From that moment on, he pledged to change his lazy habits. Every morning, he would wake up early with determination and a sense of purpose. Instead of putting off his responsibilities for meaningless distractions, he would confront them directly, tackling homework and obligations without delay. Did Jason still struggle with self-discipline at times? Of course, he was only human, and breaking old habits isn't simple. However, whenever laziness or procrastination tempted him to lose focus, Jason recalled the powerful image of the fallen tree blocking the path. He also remembered the unfortunate outcomes of Ignavius in the story and the wise words of Seneca, the Stoic philosopher. By adopting the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, recognizing the value of every moment, Jason conquered his inner struggles with procrastination and fulfilled his immense potential. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. It's how we choose to spend those hours that makes all the difference. Time is the most precious resource, because once it's gone, we can never get it back. It's a non-renewable currency that we foolishly squander far too often. Think about how many hours you waste mindlessly scrolling on your phone, binge watching TV shows, or putting off important tasks until later. All those seemingly small moments of laziness and procrastination add up shockingly quickly into entire days, weeks, and years of your limited life, frittered away. Meanwhile, the people achieving remarkable success and fulfillment are the ones who understand the value of time. Instead of letting hours idly slip by, they seize each morning with intent and passion, squeezing every drop of productivity out of the gift of a new day. Their drive and focus transforms 24 hours into an eternity of progress and meaningful work. It's tempting to rationalize, I'll get to it tomorrow. But that tomorrow becomes next week, next month, next year. Suddenly you're wondering where decades went, lamenting missed opportunities, while others raced ahead by honoring time's worth. Don't let procrastination rob you of your potential. When you catch yourself putting something off, pause and appreciate that you're actively wasting one of your infinitely dwindling supply of hours on this earth. Is indulging in a trivial pleasure truly worth sacrificing such valuable time? Imagine reflecting on your life as you approach your final moments, contemplating how you spent the limited hours you were given. Will you feel contentment knowing you made the most of your time, pursued your dreams, and cherished meaningful moments with your loved ones? Or will you harbor regret for years, wasted in procrastination, apathy, and missed opportunities that can never be reclaimed? It's up to you how you view time, either as a challenge you keep putting off dealing with through procrastination, or as the priceless resource it truly is. Those who realize that each day is a precious opportunity, not an endless supply of tomorrows, are the ones who achieve success and fulfillment. The smartest people recognize that delaying the appreciation of time comes at a high price. Seize the day, make the most of each hour you're given,